Hello guys, it's Teenage Marvel fan back in another video, and Marvel Spider-Man is back for its third and final season with Maximum Venom. This big event that has been built up over the past few seasons of Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man, and Avengers. I think this season is off to a great start. Um, I mean, some things have changed from previous seasons, Each season would be about 20 episodes, but now for this season, there are only 6 episodes, 1 hour each, so 6 weeks of 1 hour episodes. So that's definitely a big change, but we'll have to get used to it for now. But like I said, this was a good start to the season. It definitely started off slow, but once all the symbiote stuff started getting going, the episode really took off for me, and I really enjoyed this. So let's jump right into the episode. So we start off the episode by seeing that Spider-Man is battling against the Vulture, Electro, Sandman, and Venom, and then we find out that it's actually in this training program with holograms that was set up by his friends Gwen, Miles, and Anya, who are actually about to go on some college tours. But of course, forgetful Peter forgot to sign up. So he's stuck at Horizon High, and that's where he runs into Max. And when he sees Max, he sees something crazy, because apparently he's in this secret lab that he didn't know about. And when he walks in and sees Max, he's covered in the symbiote. But then when Max realizes Peter's there, he explains everything and how he created his own a synthetic copy of the Venom symbiote. So he got this little sample of Venom, and then he created a copy of it that's not alive. So it's basically the opposite of Venom. This synthetic copy is good, and it doesn't control the host. So that's pretty good. But yeah, Peter's super skeptical about this. He's like, you can't trust Venom, you can't trust these symbiotes, you don't know what they can do to you. But then he continues on with his day, and when the school day starts, he runs into Grady Scraps, who's a new student at Horizon High, and we actually saw him last season, I believe, and since he's a new student, Peter decides to give him a tour of the school and show him everything that's around there. So he shows him the arc reactor, which was donated by Tony Stark, obviously, arc reactor, Tony Stark, Iron Man. Because the whole school is run on tech. That's basically the whole point. Everybody creates technology. So of course you need a big power source, and that's why I've got the arc reactor. But then Peter also shows Grady the Project Graveyard, which is where all these rejected and failed projects go when they fail. But then Grady accidentally releases this failed robot, and then it gets bigger, and he nicknames it the Technovore. And it eats technology and then grows bigger and absorbs all of its powers that it was capable of. So this is a big threat. And Peter says he's going to go get help. So he suits up his Spidey, and then he goes to fight the Technovore. But he's having a bit of trouble with it. So he gets some help from Max Modell, who apparently now knows Peter's secret identity. And I could kind of tell, because there were some hints at it at the end of the last season and the season finale for season 2. You could kind of tell that Max knew, but now we know for sure that he knows. And he decides to give Peter the symbiote. And even though he's reluctant at first, he decides to use the symbiote to make the sacrifice to save the school, because he thinks it's going to absorb him and take control of him, but actually it doesn't, because it's just a synthetic copy, and it's actually pretty cool. And I like how they did this, because in the promo footage and concept art and stuff, when we saw Spider-Man in this symbiote white suit, I was interested to see how they would explain why, when Peter puts on the symbiote this time, his suit is mostly white and a little bit black, whereas when he put on the Venom symbiote, it was mostly black and a little white. I didn't want it to just be he put on the Venom symbiote again and it's just different for no reason. But I like that it's the synthetic copy, because that's basically the opposite of Venom. it's good, whereas Venom is evil, and then Venom is majority black, the synthetic copy is majority white. So I think that's really cool. But with this suit, new symbiote, his web shooters still work, of course, and they're actually more capable of, shooting webs, I guess you could say. But also he has this enhanced vision, so that's pretty cool. And he's kind of like Carnage, where he can mold his hand into these different weapons, like a mace, a sword thing, I don't even know what else, but a whole bunch of different weapons there. A hammer, that was really cool. So now he decides he's going to go and fight the Technovore. So he heads out in his new suit to fight the Technovore, and he's still having some problems. Like, he's able to, keep the Technovore away from the arc reactor, but he can't defeat it. He's not able to get to that power cell and rip it out yet. So then Grady Scraps runs in with this big idea on how to save the day, and he has these anti-gravity panels, so then he throws them at the Technovore, and the Technovore eats them up, and now the Technovore starts floating away, and he's like, yeah, it's not stable now, and now it's just floating there. But then turns out that was actually just helping out the Technovore, and now it can fly. So, now what? Well, somehow, now that it's airborne, Peter is able to swing his webs all the way up on top of it, and then he molds his hand into these giant swords, stabby things, and stabs into the back of the Technovore, and then pulls out the power cell and saves the day, basically. So he has now defeated the Technovore, and that's pretty cool. But after this, at the very end of the episode, we see some darker shades of Max Modell here. And he's always kind of been like this. He's always kind of been a big risk taker. And, like, yes, he's a teacher, and he's a mentor to Peter, but you never know what he's going to do. He's always been obsessed with the V252, the symbiote Venom. So since he knows that Peter is Spider-Man, he keeps telling him, like, why don't you just reveal your identity to the world? Why would you not want people to know the great things that you're doing? So he's starting to get a bit shady. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but at the very end of the episode, like, the last thing that happens is we see Dr. Kurt Connors, who appeared a few times throughout the episode, and he pulls out his phone and he calls somebody. And then he basically says, oh, it worked perfectly. That kid thought it was all his fault. You were right. Now it's time to move on to the next phase of the plan. So, I'm not sure what's going on there, but apparently Dr. Kurt Connors is actually evil, and he's not even the Lizard, so that's pretty crazy. I'm not sure who he's working for, but I'm sure it'll be revealed at some point, so I'm excited to see how that storyline continues. But then we get on to the second part of the episode, where we see Peter training with Max, fighting against these robots, and we see that he gets electrocuted, and it affects the symbiote, just like it would have before. But then there's like a runaway train, so then he goes to stop it, and then there's this electric panel on it, and he has to rip it out to save the day. And he's like, oh, it's going to destroy the symbiote, but I have to do it to save the day. So then he does it, he makes a sacrifice, but then nothing happens. So apparently it's like certain types of electricity, or like certain frequencies for electricity affects the symbiote, and certain frequencies don't. So he's able to save the day there. But then here comes the big problem, because Dr. Kurt Connors, like I said, he's evil, and he manages to find out where Max's secret lab is. And he finds the Venom symbiote, and then he accidentally breaks it out. It was an accident, but, maybe it was on purpose. And then he becomes Venom. So then Kurt Connors, as Venom, so he's kind of being controlled by Venom, runs away to this bridge, and, this is where the problems start happening. Because Spider-Man has this big, huge fight with Venom, and he is not at his full power because it was just a small sample of the Venom symbiote. So Spider-Man is actually
There's the
able to defeat him there until
subtle Venom.
Venom. So what's gonna happen?
Well, you don't think New York traffic is bad enough already? Just added 20 minutes to everyone's commute. Okay, 40 minutes! Thanks! But I don't want these! Surprise!
And goes off and, gets him to safety. But then Peter goes to chase after Venom. And they track him by tracking the synthetic copy. And then when he ends up finding Venom, Venom sets off this beacon of light, and we don't really know what it is, if it's like this big, huge laser or something. But then Grady is able to figure out the right frequency of electricity that will stop Venom. So then Spider-Man uses it. And he doesn't have the symbiote, so that's why he needs this big, powerful weapon of electricity to be able to defeat Venom this time. So they do that, then Venom goes poof, and he basically explodes everywhere. The beacon of light stops. And then it kind of reminds me of Stranger Things, where it's like you got the pieces of symbiote just floating around there. And then you got the red all over the place, too. So yeah, but then at the end of the episode, we find out that Kurt Connors reported Max Modell. And so he got him in trouble, and now Max is under investigation, and Kurt has taken over all of Max's work and lab equipment. So that's definitely not good. But then Max and Peter question what the seed was actually for, because I actually completely forgot to mention that, but Venom planted the seed in the earth, and that's what set off the light beacon. But they're like, what was it for? Was it to destroy the world? Blow up a moon or something? I don't know. But then we see what this light was for, because it was this beacon of light was not just light. It was not a laser. It was a signal. Because he was actually calling his army of symbiotes. His whole population of symbiotes is now coming to the Earth. I mean, we kind of already knew this from the synopsis of this whole event that we got before it released. But yeah, so that's where the episode ends. And that was pretty crazy. Yeah, so I am super excited to see where this leads to in the next episode for next week. And as for where it goes from here, I do believe Venom will be back because, I mean, the event is called Maximum Venom, so you can't just have Venom in the first episode and then have that be it. So he has to return. I mean, yeah, he kind of did go Stranger Things upside down mode and poof out of existence, but there was still those flakes of symbiote floating around in the air. So I think he's definitely alive somehow. And he will be back to lead his army to Earth. So, anyways, guys, what did you think about this season premiere for Spider-Man Maximum Venom? Please let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hope to see you in the next video. So I bestow all Marvel knowledge upon you.